Hi, I'm Paul Scholes and you're watching Stretty News TV.
Hello and welcome to Stretty News TV. I'm with Neil Custis from The Sun. Neil, Chelsea were already champions Premier League this season. Starting the season recap, we have to talk about them. Your thoughts?
I think the only people who call it boring would be neutrals who maybe watch a game in anticipation of excitement. But for me, football is a game fans go to see their team win. If you're a neutral, it's not. It's about entertainment. I don't think it's been boring. I think the number of goals they've scored, particularly the first half of the season, I think you just adapted the team through injuries and what have you to play in a different way in the second half of the season. But the first half of the season, there's nothing boring about it at all. And actually, you watch how, I don't want this to sound like I'm being some smart tactician here or something, but there is entertainment in some ways in how they set up and in watching what they do and how they block, and this won't go down very well with United fans, but in watching someone like John Terry perform at his very best. There is an entertainment in that, but boring, definitely not.
Can Manchester United learn from something from Chelsea last season in terms of they went out, they got their business done early, and United are kind of doing that now with Memphis Depay, and it looks like they're trying to get just talk to 3 targets, whatever they're really working on. Are United taking that on the chin? They've done it in the past, so.
Yeah, I think ideally they'd always want to do that. I think the problem is though that you had a manager coming in who had just finished late in the World Cup. I think he only had 2 days holiday. You know, his attention, although he was doing Man United sort of business while he was at the World Cup in terms of conversations, there's no way he could do that job properly and prepare properly for the season. So that will change this summer. I'm sure it'll get done earlier. But goodness me, I mean, when he did start buying them, how exciting was that? It's not transformed onto the pitch, but I don't think anyone could complain about the buys at the time. But that's always what they try to do, isn't it? I mean, it's what Sir Alex always talked about doing. But the other problem is with Manchester United, when Manchester United come calling and the other club knows they want that player, they drag it out for as long as they can to get as much money as they can, and there's nothing Manchester United can do about that. And there's nothing. It's not about them stalling or mismanagement or anything like that. It's about the other club dragging out an extra 5, 6, 7 million pounds out of them, which they do regularly, and City have found the same.
From a journalistic perspective, you're sitting beside Ferguson there.
There he's got a disapproving face on when he saw me come in.
What's it been like working with Van Gaal this year?
It's been good. I found him fascinating, as fascinating as I found Sir Alex. But it's, you know, because we had so long with Sir Alex, as good as it was. The last 2 seasons have actually been interesting and exciting in a way at what is going to happen now. You know, what's coming next? What is life going to be like without, you know, the great man? But certainly his box office. You know, some of the phrases he comes out with, some of the way he reacts to certain questions, and there's certainly from a media's perspective, there's no lack of words. You know, if you ask Sir Alex a question he didn't like, you just got noggin into that. Whereas with Van Gaal, he'll actually explain why he's not getting into that. So I found him fascinating. I found his methods fascinating, and what he's been trying to do. I don't think it's completely worked as of yet, but I think it will.
I suppose too, David DeGea looks very, very likely he's going to be heading to Real Madrid at the moment. Should Manchester United stick with the likes of Valdez, or go out and buy an alternative?
Well, I don't know, because I haven't seen Valdez since his injury. Yeah. So obviously he's class in the past. I mean, he's about the age Van der Sar, isn't he? When Van der Sar was still doing it at the very top level. So I haven't seen enough of him since his injury to know really. But what I do know is that to lose De Gea is to lose someone who can earn you 12 points a season. He is as important to Manchester United as any player you could name at the club right now. In fact, I'd rather any other player go than him, because he's grown into a class act. You know, he used to be, as all Man United fans will know, he used to be an accident waiting to happen, and you were sort of like holding your breath when the ball went near him. Now you just know that he's going to have a good game. He just always has a good game. He doesn't make mistakes.
Is there any realistic alternative that you can go out and buy when and if he does leave?
There's nobody in the world for Neuer who's as good as him. So you can get Lloris from Spurs, you can get Petr Cech, both top class goalkeepers. But if you're talking about somebody who you want to be like Schmeichel, who's here established for years, who will then in turn give confidence to a defence, it's so much more than him just stopping the ball. It's what he exudes to the back four and to the rest of the team. And he can exude. I mean, he's had to work behind a back three, a back four, a back five, constant personnel changes. The one constant has been him, constant not only in performances but in ability. So, I mean, it'll just be awful for United if they lose their best player once again to Real Madrid. They just don't come along. And the thing that'll great really with Manchester United fans, they might all wave bye-bye and say, he's been great for us and wish him good luck. But what'll great is, as with Ronaldo came for me as a one-trick pony, who nobody could think that he was going to be as good as he became. But Manchester United made him into the best player in the world. Manchester United have made David DeGea into the best goalkeeper in the world. And the thing that's great is that after that investment in him, he then leaves and goes somewhere else. And that would great for me, as much as, he'll say it's my hometown, my girlfriend lives there, it's Spain, it's Real Madrid, the sun doesn't shine in Manchester. As much as he might use any reason, it'll still great. It'll still great because Manchester United has been very good for him.
From a journalistic perspective, this season, top 3 grounds you've been to for atmosphere?
Top 3 grounds for atmosphere? Well, it used to be my team, Newcastle United, but that hasn't been the top ground for atmosphere for about two or 3 years, and it certainly isn't right now. It's one of the worst. See, we haven't been in Europe. The club hasn't been in Europe, so we've missed out on fantastic atmospheres we used to get in Europe. Like Galatasaray and places like that. I mean, just brilliant. Here, for one, I think it's a myth that this place doesn't have an atmosphere, and I think the atmosphere here has actually been better in the last 2 years than it has been probably in the 15 years when I've covered them, because the fans have recognised that that the support is needed. The support wasn't always needed in the past, and that prompted sometimes the prawn sandwich comments and stuff like that. But the support has really been needed these past 2 seasons, and the fans have really stepped up to the plate in that sense. They did it with David Moyes as well, although I thought, had he not gone, that the game against Norwich could have been a bit toxic. But they supported David Moyes and they supported Van Gaal in the team. So I think the atmosphere here has been great. Elsewhere, I don't know. Burnley, great atmosphere there. Back in the Premier League. Passionate ground. Really sad to see them go. And obviously, when you go to City for the derby, you might want to call it the empty had, but it certainly isn't on Derby Day. And there can be an atmosphere there. I think that the problem there, like here, is that the season has been a bit flat, really.
Apart from David DeGea, seen as it's too easy, best Man United player this season?
I mean, I think the way he's adapted to what's been asked of him in different positions, I would say Wayne Rooney. He can play in midfield, he can play in a deep midfield role, a creative role, and he can play as a striker. And he's, some people still question Rooney. For me, he's still a fantastic player. He's lost that little bit of electricity, that little zip in the final third, which got him away from the last defender sometimes. So he's adapted to that positionally, I think. But he's still a fantastic player. I don't think any of the new buys have stood out at all. I think maybe the one who you'd say has looked pretty solid is maybe Blind. Herrera couldn't even get in the team for half the season, could he? For 10 or 12 games. I think standards have dropped slightly if we're saying that Herrera has been a great buy. Di Maria's flopped. Falcao, I mean, that's just not worked, and it's not going to work. Now, this isn't to say that they won't be, because it has been. You have to remember that Van Gaal came in. I think 15 players went, 5 came in. A lot of players from abroad. It does take longer to adapt. It shouldn't take this long, to be fair, but it does take longer to adapt, and to adapt also to a style that is almost reteaching players how to play football, and this is what Van Gaal wants to do. And because it's worked in the past with Bayern and Barcelona an awful lot quicker than it has done here, he's sticking to that, and I don't think it suits the likes of Di Maria. So you know, they have been a disappointment, and elsewhere the injuries has never seen anyone get a consistent run. You know, Smalling and Jones, when they were together, looked like a good partnership, and then suddenly one gets ill, one gets injured. But outside of De Gea, has there been a standout performer? I mean, the very fact that we're trying to think of one means that there hasn't, isn't there? Otherwise, straight away you go like that. But for me, Rooney is and always has been, apart from a short period under Sir Alex when they fell out, has been a consistently high performer and continues to be.
Thanks a lot, Liam.
No problem, anytime.
Hi, I'm Paul Scholes and you're watching Stretty News TV.